Ladies and gentlemen, the Fide World Chess Championship has begun. We have a very interesting combat between Grandmaster Ding Liren from China and Grandmaster Ian Nepomniachtchi from Russia. Now, these two great chess giants will play um, a 14 a 14 game long match um, with both white and black. So a single player will have 7 games with the white pieces and 7 games with the black pieces, and they will exchange blows during this long combat. And the reason of this is to crown the new world chess champion, as Magnus Carlsen from Norway has um, has abandoned the World Chess Championship title. So yesterday the games started, round one started, and it was a very interesting combat between these two chess immortals. But without further ado, let's check out their first game. On this short recap, we'll check out the 2 games that they have played so far. So in the first game, Ian Nepomniachtchi from Russia had the white pieces, and he opened with the move 1 e4, and Grandmaster Liren responded with e5, which is the opening matter in the top level. If you play the move 1 e4, black in 99% out of 100 times will respond with the move 1 to e5, because that is what top players play all the time. So we have the king's pawn game: knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5. The Ruy Lopez, nothing that the chess world hasn't seen so far. a6, bishop to a4. This is all standard theory. Knight to f6, and here we have castles, which is still normal as well. And bishop to e7 by Ding, continuing development. And here the first surprise from the game arose when Ian Nepomniachtchi in this position chose the move bishop takes on c6. Now, the move bishop takes c6 could have just been played on move 4 from this Ruy Lopez position, but Ian had a surprise for Ding in this match. Thus he chose this offbeat, I could say, opening choice after move 6, for which he transposed into the exchange row. But Ding responded with the move d takes on c6, logical. Rook to e1 here, defending the pawn on e4, and Ding here continued with the move knight to d7. So far the most solid move in the position. The game continues with the move d4, e4, queen d4, and castles. So far we have standard developing moves: bishop to f4, developing a bishop, and knight to c5. The move knight c5 offers the trade of queens, and it puts the knight on an active c5 square, where it will potentially look at the e4 pawn. Ian continued with queen to e3, declining the queen trade and saying that the game continues on. Ding responded here with the move bishop to g4, quite a standard move, developing the bishop to its most forward available square, following the principle of maximum of activity. The game continues with knight to d4 here by Ian, which is by far the top engine move. It it prevents the trade on f3, and it overall says that this bishop will partake um, no useless duties, no useful duties, sorry, in the game. The game continues with the move queen to d7, and here Jan continues with precise accuracy with the move knight to c3. And from this position, there was a very fun line that was recommended by the computer after Ding played the move rook from a to d8, for which it was the move here pawn to h3. And after let's say Jan continues with the move after h3, let's say here Jan continues with the move queen take, sorry, not queen to d6. Let's say Jan continues with the move queen takes on d4. Okay, sorry about that. Let's say after the move h3, let's say Jan continues with the move queen takes on d4. Then here sorry, Ding continues with the move queen takes on d4, and Jan here has a very interesting move that I would like you to pause the video and consider for a moment. Well, for those of you who may have found the move, congratulations. You are um, an excellent uh, deflector or a tactic solver. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is the move knight to d5. And basically, this move invites lots of troubles for black, as you just cannot you cannot allow yourself to capture the queen here on e3, simply because of the move knight takes on e7 check, and then you will lose material after that. Just to show it a bit, after the move queen takes on e3, white has the move knight takes on e7 check. Okay, white has the move of knight takes on e7 check, for which after the king will move. After knight takes e7 check, the king is forced to move, and then you will capture here the queen here with the bishop, and then two pieces will be simultaneously under fire of the white's pieces. But here after the move knight to c3 by Jan, after the move knight to c3 by Jan, Ding continued with the move rook from a to d8 that we saw, and instead of the move h3, Jan continued with a very flexible choice, knight to f5, putting pressure on the bishop here on e7, and he would generally be happy to trade off his knight here, because on the top level the bishop is a little bit stronger than the knight, because it simply has more prospects in the game. Hence the bishop is a long-ranged piece that controls more squares in open positions, and knights are short-ranged pieces that need to be bought in the scene of action. But yeah, after knight f5, that was the general overview idea of Jan. The game continues with knight to e6, attacking the bishop here on g3, and white continues with knight takes on e7 check, a quite standard move here, trading the knight for a bishop, as I illustrated earlier. Queen takes on e7 was played, and here Jan continues with the move bishop to g3, saving the bishop. And after the move bishop to h5 from Ding, which was considered um, which was considered to be one of the best moves from the engine. Here Jan continues with the move pawn to h3, sorry, pawn to f3, just blocking the diagonal from this bishop and preparing the move knight to e2, knight to f5 in the future. Ding continues with f6 here, making um, a, a pathway for his bishop to go to f7 and take control of this diagonal. And here, sorry about that. Here Nepo continues with the move pawn to h3 over here. Both players now are making waiting moves. They are generally improving their position. Ding continues with the symmetric pawn to h6. Jan continues with the move king to h2 here, improving the position of his king and getting ready to bring his pieces into the game, while his position will be quite solid enough. Ding continues with the move bishop to f7, and Jan here offers a rook trade with the move rook a to d1, for which Ding here plays the move b6, which is quite normal. Jan responds with the move a3, getting the pawn in control of the b4 square. Later on, disallowing the move queen to b4 prospects and the move b5 b4, quite logical move. And Ding here continues with the move pawn to a5, which I quite did not understand at first glance, because I thought Ding had no prospects via the b4 square, as it was quite strange for me to understand such a move. But anyways, he played a5, and here Jan continues with the move knight to e2, and the game continues with the move. After knight to e2, the game continues with after knight e2, the game continues with the move rook takes d1 here by Ding, which trades everything because firstly, black has less space control, and he will generally be happy with more trades, as he will have less problems because his pieces would not cramp his position. So Jan takes the rook here, rook takes d1, and as I said, he continues trading more pieces because his position is a little bit cramped. So he plays rook d8, and here Jan continues with the move rook to d3, and here Ding makes an error with the move pawn to c5. Generally, the move c5 would prepare the move knight to d4 eventually, and it takes away the d4 square from the white's pieces. But yeah, I may excuse Ding here because he was under time trouble, and he wanted to to reveal pressure from his position, and to sort of prevent the white's plan. But overall, this was a little bit inaccurate for me. Perhaps the move rook takes on d3 was quite normal here and obvious, but okay, that was not the main thing. So after the move rook takes on d8, rook takes on d8, and the move queen to f4, which is the best line recommended by the computer. White stands better, and this is the continuation that occurred in the game as well. So b5 was played here by Ding, and Jan continued with the move queen to b8, simply putting his pieces on more active positions on the black's position, pinning the knight here with on the hit rank and preparing the move bishop to c7, which would be quite deadly because it would simply win a piece. Here Ding continued with the move after queen to b8. Ding continued with the move king to h7 here, putting his king, removing his king from the pin, and generally defending as precisely as he can. So after the move king to h7, Jan played a slight inaccurate move bishop to d6. Well, it's not a slight inaccurate; it is inaccurate because he generally thought that after the move bishop to d6, he's putting more pressure on his opponent here. But generally, the move bishop to c7 was just enough to put more pressure, as he would start winning material quickly. And I guess the move that he missed here was the move queen to d7, for which Ding played. And though he can win a pawn here, he would not generally be having a better position because the pawns were simply doubled, first of all, and he does not have any prospects nearby to create a passed pawn and to prove his advantage. So while collecting a pawn, he would generally be having an equal position, for which I think he might have overlooked here. So after the move queen to d7, he continued with the move knight to g3 here, and Ding played the move knight to e6, bringing his knight into the game, and the game just continued to be in a draw here after the move pawn to f4, and pawn to f4, pawn to h5 from Ding, c3 from Jan, not allowing the knight to go to d4. c4 was played, and after the move pawn to h4, which prevents Ding from playing pawn to h4 himself, and to cramp the white's position and give him more prospects. Here, Ding just played the move queen to d8, which was basically a draw offer, because after the move that Jan played queen to b7, Ding just continued with the move bishop to e8 here, defending his pawn here on c6, and here the game was basically equal, and Jan was out of fighting options. He tried knight to f5, but Ding just continued defending precisely with the move queen to d7, and after the move queen to b8, here e5 was played. Oops, sorry about that. After the move queen to b8, here after queen to b8, simply queen to d8 was played, and here a draw offer, well, has to be accepted, which is to trade queens, and the game would be a dry draw, a dry drawn position, I should say, because white simply has has no way to avoid having a dry position here. But whatsoever, the move queen to d8 was played, and Jan traded queens here, queen d8, knight d8, and yeah, basically it was just it was very equal. And after a few moves, knight to d4 here, knight d4, king b7. Also, sorry, not king to b7. After knight d4, knight b7, and e5, king to g8. Oh, sorry, not this position. e5, king to g8. Sorry about that. King g8. The game was basically dead equal, and it was drawn. And after a few moves, the players just continued playing normal moves. Here, bishop to d7, bishop to d7, bringing the bishop on a more active position here. Bishop d7, bishop c7. As you can see, both players are making quite normal moves. Bishop to c7, knight to c5 was played. Bishop takes on a5. White temporarily won a pawn, but it doesn't change much, because after the move king to f7, bishop to b4 just played, and knight to d3. White has no way to prove the advantage, thus the b2 pawn will fall eventually, and yeah, the game will just end in a draw. They continued e6 check, bishop takes on e6, knight takes on c6, I believe was played, and basically after knight takes on c6, bishop to d7, knight to d4, knight takes on b2, king takes on f3, knight to d3, and g3, knight to c1. Yeah, the game is just heading towards a draw here, and the players have no way to prove one's advantage here. As you can see, g3, knight to c1 was played, and basically after that, few moves were just played. Knight to c1, king to e3, and knight to b3. The game just ended in a draw by agreement. Knight to c1 was played, and then here king to e3 was played, and then after the move knight to b3, both players just agreed to a draw here. So the game just ended in a draw between both of these two legends. So that was their first game, and it was quite a feisty battle. And I think Jan here missed his chance somewhat here in this line after the move. Yeah, after this move pawn to c6, Jan missed his chance here, because he could have played 4 more if he hadn't spotted that the move bishop to c7 makes more sense, and it is the move that basically fights for an advantage without overlooking the move bishop to d6 actually leads to a dry drawn position as well. So that gets to show the first game, and let's now have a look at the second game. The second game was also quite interesting as well, but since the first game analysis took too long, I will cover the second game in the next video, and do check it out. I wish you an excellent, great rest of your day. Take care, and the second game is coming just right up.